Now, here's a quick one about a guy who, after like 20 years of marriage, is kicking his wife to the curb 16 years later after he found out that she was cheating on him, not once, but twice. He tried the reconciliation thing and realized it's a big, gigantic mistake. Title: I'll get a lot of hate, but here it is. He says here, "It took 16 years. My wife and I married young, in our early 20s. Too young. We both came from troubled homes with domestic abuse, drug issues, S-word abuse, and you name it. First time I was left to be tended to by the government officials, I was 2 years old. My childhood strengthened by convictions, hers made her weak. I was in it for the long haul. Alcoholics Anonymous, Narcotics Anonymous, therapy, counseling, you name it. I was the person who showed up, not anyone from her family." So yeah, they both came from damaged backgrounds, but and it sounds like he persevered, but she just stayed where she came from. In our 4th year of marriage, she had an affair with a mutual friend. She trickled truth and an additional affair later. She followed the adultery handbook and denied as I stood there with the evidence in my hand. Not an ounce of remorse existed. Well, we call it the hoe bag handbook. Then the evidence was presented, and she broke down and blamed me that our relationship wasn't moving forward. How many times you heard that? The woman blames the guy for her cheating. She says, all my friends have kids, blah, blah, blah. And we had agreed in conversation multiple times that kids would start at the 5-year mark. Imagine that. Communication agreement in full force. She followed the remorseful playbook, gave a timeline, confessed to everything, allegedly, and we did couples therapy and individual therapy. It's not gonna work. She's already from a damaged background, and her origins of her childhood in that situation is not her fault. The problem is people that grew up in those environments tend to stay that way because they surround themselves with the same type of people in that environment where they came from. But cheater, end it, move on, dump her. But he doesn't. He says, I found out when we started to try and have kids. I was thumbing through medical files and came across a receipt for an appointment in which the morning pill was issued. It was recent at the time. I kept it and waited until I had hard evidence. Sure enough, she was pregnant. We did a blood test when our child was born. So he knows this is actually his kid, even though she was a cheater. So as mentioned, we proceeded with reconciliation. 12 years later, I can conclusively say reconciliation is an absolute waste of time and energy. There you go. So my bad. He's been with her for a total of 16 years. The first 4 years, he thought everything was great. Then she cheated. So 12 years later. And guess what? Their marriage sucks. Shocker. This is why you just part ways and move on. But nope, guys don't learn. My feelings for her were never the same. I could never look at her as my lover. We do have sex. It's crazy, intense, awesome, and kinky, probably due to her still carrying the guilt of her affair. So she's in the hot crazy scale. Then it started. She started asking about another child, about where we would retire together. All I can think about is F that. She's a fine partner, good looking. Since reconciliation, she's been engaging, loving, and well present in the relationship. And all I can think is, who cares? I wasn't good enough to be faithful to at my peak physical condition, my peak mental and emotional states. She ripped the rug out for me 12 years ago. I thought we had a great relationship then. Now I can't help but want to do the same. I've given her the kids she wanted, the house, the life. I made sacrifices to make all this work, and I am done. I made an appointment with a divorce attorney. No more talks of the future. Dry your tears. This is the outcome you chose. You showed me there are no teammates in life. Now you can learn the same lesson. When you feel it's all going so right, here comes the rug pull. Enjoy it. And he says, I know I will enjoy my freedom from this monster. So the point is, this guy, he married young, married a girl damaged. Now, he was damaged too from his childhood, but he moved on, sounds like. She was damaged. Can't turn a HOE into a housewife. Don't be the white knight, try to save them. Found out she was cheating more than once. Presented her with the evidence. Deny. And then finally she breaks down then blames him. You walk away. You don't stay in a relationship with someone like this. But a lot of guys think they got to do it. Give her a second chance. They fall for the waterworks, the manipulation, the blame shifting. Or if there's a kid on the way, they think they don't want to break up the family. And they stay married in this miserable marriage. No trust, no love. Right there, he said, I wasted 12 years. The reconciliation, it was pointless. I'm done. Life is short, guys, and so good for this guy for doing this. And he's probably in his late 30s at this point at best. So I wish him, well, he's still in his prime. Guy's prime begins in his 30s, and so he can do well. Is he going to get hit hard in the divorce? Yes, we all know it. But at the end of the day, a man can start over. A man can live cheap and get things turned around, and he'll be all right. It's the gals, they are the ones with the problem. And I have a very hard time believing during this time period she's never strayed, or stepped out, whatever you want to call it, a third, fourth, or fifth time. No freaking way. So good for this guy. Cut him loose, guys.